this week was a big week in baseball. The All-Star teams were announced, which is a big deal. Everybody voted. It was a little weird this year with the voting. You had 2 different rounds of voting. You had the first round and then the finalists advanced, and then you had to vote again for those guys. But alas, we are all done with the voting and the teams have been announced. So look, let's take a look at the American League, and obviously the best player in the planet, Mike Trout, is hurt. He got voted in as a center fielder, so he will not be playing the game. But look, a lot of these guys are such good stories. Teoscar Hernandez is one of the best stories in all of baseball, and to make the All-Star team as a starter, so cool. But look, this team, I feel like the American League is pretty good. I'm hopeful Cedric Mullins steps in center field for Mike Trout. I feel like he deserved to be a starter, and since Trout will be out, I think Mullins will step in there. But look, I mean, we all know I love Shohei Ohtani. For him to be the starting DH is awesome. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., we nailed the American League. This was good here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the reserves. There's a lot of reserves from the Astros. You got Michael Brantley, you got Carlos Correa, you got Jose Altuve. The reserves for the American League are talented. On the pitching side, Garrett Cole, Lance Lynn, Shane Bieber, Kyle Gibson. What an awesome story. When I look at who I think is going to start the game on the mound for the AL, look, as of a week or so ago, I would have said, you know what, I think Carlos Rodon is an awesome story. I think you could have gone with either White Sox pitcher, Carlos Rodon, or Lance Lynn. We can't argue with what Kyle Gibson is doing anymore. A sub-2 ERA for the Rangers. Absolutely incredible, an incredible season, and I'm looking forward to watching him on the mound. And also, a pitcher for the American League, Shohei Ohtani. So yeah, we'll talk about that later, but he is also going to pitch in this game for the American League. So good squad out of the American League side. Want to talk about the National League side. I think the National League, from the voting perspective, we nailed it. I really think we nailed the National League. I think Max Muncy over Freddie Freeman could have been the only potential difference here. But look, Freddie Freeman's been turning it on of late. What we did great as a whole voting-wise was the outfield. Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos, and Ronald Acuna in the outfield is incredible. To have those 2 guys for the Reds in the outfield, awesome. We nailed that. They're having an incredible year. Obviously, Fernando Tatis Jr. becoming the face of baseball right there at shortstop, just continues to do his thing. Hit his 27th home run the other night. It's been a blast to watch him play this year. Buster Posey, man, what a story. What a story this season. Buster Posey is creeping up there in age and is having, numbers-wise, the best year of his career. I mean, absolutely incredible. To sit out last season during the COVID season and to come back with this resurgence, so awesome to see him as the starting catcher for the National League side. One of the best stories out of this whole team as well. When I look at the reserves and the pitchers, look, what I would love the most is for Jacob deGrom to start on the mound. Obviously, deGrom makes it. He is the best pitcher on the planet right now. The thing with starting an All-Star game is it kind of all depends on if it's going to line up. Will it line up with your last start? And depending on the manager, sometimes they'll make it line up, you know? My brother's last All-Star start, he was supposed to start the day before the All-Star game, and they switched that around, and he ended up starting the All-Star game because of A.J. Hinch. So that was pretty cool. And look, the rest of this team is stacked, obviously. Muncy did end up making the team. Mookie made the team. Kyle Schwarber, I'm pumped about, the hottest hitter on the planet right now, just hitting 2-3 home runs every single night. Look, I'm so pumped for this All-Star game. Well, we're going to be there. The Flippin Bats team is going to be there, so this next episode will be brought to you from there and getting a lot of content out there. I'm super excited for that. But I really feel like we nailed it with this All-Star voting. I think a few things could have changed here and there. Look, there's obviously always snubs. I don't want to talk about the snubs. This All-Star team is great as a whole. The guys that should have made it did. Obviously, there's a few snubs, but I am super excited for this game and the guys that did end up making the team. And my perfect scenario, if I could vote, I would vote for Jacob deGrom to start for the National League on the mound and Carlos Rodon to start on the American League side. So, look, that's it for the All-Star Game announcement. We finally got those teams announced. The All-Star Game is 1 week from Tuesday on July 13th from Denver, so I will see you guys there. But now, speaking of the All-Star Game, I wanted to get into this week's Twitter poll. I know I normally do it a little later in the show, but it all kind of ties in. It all ties into the All-Star Game stuff. So let's take a look at this week's Twitter poll. If you aren't following Flippin Bats Pod on Twitter, make sure you do it because weekly we do a poll and we talk about it on the show. So make sure you're following Flippin Bats Pod. This week's question: who's the All-Star Game MVP gonna be? We gave you guys 3 options and of course a someone else option. Shohei Ohtani was an option. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was an option, and Fernando Tatis was an option. So let's take a look at the results of this poll from what you guys voted on. And in an absolute landslide, Shohei Ohtani wins the vote. 52.6% of the vote goes to Shohei Ohtani. 27.1% goes to someone else. 9.7% to Fernando Tatis Jr. and 10.6% to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Look, when it comes to an All-Star Game MVP, it's such a toss-up. It's so hard to predict. But what I do think we did is we predicted this right. It's Shohei Ohtani's to lose. Look, the guy is going to hit in the All-Star Game, and he's going to pitch in the All-Star Game. It's not going to take much for him to win this. If he throws a clean inning and he gets a hit, maybe 2 hits out there, I think he's definitely going to be the MVP. What's it going to take to knock him off if he does that? What does somebody else need to do? Hit 2 home runs and there are only 2 at-bats? Maybe like Jacob deGrom going out and throwing 2 innings and striking out 6 guys? Not giving up a hit? I don't know. But I truly believe it's Shohei Ohtani's to lose. We're going to see something that we have never seen in All-Star Game history. So anytime you start talking about that, as long as they do a decent job at it, they're going to be MVP.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.